gotten a few comments and so many DMs asking for my unrecognizable makeup, so we're gonna hop in and do that today. We're going to start with our eyebrows, and just to make things easier, instead of doing a step-by-step for my eyebrow routine, because it is a little bit more complex than a normal person's eyebrow routine, I am just going to hyperlink it in the caption below. That way you guys can have a full in-depth video on that alone. But if you don't want to watch that, that's okay. Just do your laminated eyebrow routine, however you do it. I always throw my eyebrow gel on and then let it dry as I do my base, so that's what I recommend that you do if you're attempting to do this look. We are going to be using a long wear high coverage foundation. Because I have dry skin, that means I need to go in and do some really good skin prep. I've already done that, and then I also use a hydrating primer under. I am using the Shop Miss A AOA hydrating primer. This is literally $1.55. It's one of my favorites. It's so cheap, but it is like magic in a bottle. My skin just drinks it up. I have pretty large pores on the sides of my nose, as you can see. So in order to cover those, I'm going in with the Professional Matte Primer. The only place on my entire face I tend to get oily is my nose, so that's why I'm going in with the matte version. But if you don't get oily, just use whatever pore filling primer you have. With this type of makeup look, we want to look as flawless as we can and as smooth as we can. So anywhere you have big pores, we want to make sure those are filled in. An extra step that I absolutely have to do right now because of the time of year it is and because of how dry my skin is I need to go in with an under eye balm and make sure that my eyes are extra hydrated before concealer gets put on. I don't always do this, but only when my under eyes are really dry and the season calls for it. So when I do my makeup transformations, this is not an always, this is just a sometimes, depending on whether or not my face needs it at the time.
Assess your face, see if it needs anything extra than your normal skincare base.
For today's foundation, I'm using the KVD Good Apple Serum Foundation. This is a little too yellow for me, and it's a little too light, so I'm just going to go in and add a few of these NYX Total Control bronzing drops. It's still not going to be a perfect match. That's okay. We're using a turtleneck today. Use whatever high coverage foundation you have in your kit. My preferred method for this is literally just picking up the product on the sponge off of the palette and pounding it on my face. The stuff that you see on either side of my nose was just what was left over from my finger after mixing it. You can already tell the difference. Because we already have our eyebrow gel on, just trying to make sure that you don't get it in those hairs because it's just annoying to try to have to go in and take it off. And please, for everything that is good in this world, take your foundation down your neck. Now we're going to do a cream bronzer. I used the RCMA palette in the video that you guys were asking the tutorial on, and I just mixed several of the warmer shades and the neutral shades and popped it on my forehead, on my cheek. We're kind of bronzing here. We're going with a slightly more bronzy shade, but we're making sure that we keep it in the hollows and just slightly bring it up. We don't want it to be too far up on the face because we do want it to give us shape. And then also under the jaw, and then take that product and go down the center of your neck. It just helps everything look a little bit smaller and more snatched. In this, I was wearing this blush. This is the YSL Make Me Blush in the shade 37. And my preferred method for this particular product is to put it on a palette. This is just the same palette I had my foundation on. And I kind of smudge it around so that it's pretty evenly dispersed. And then I take a flat blush brush and really press it into the fibers. And then just very lightly tap right above where we did that bronzer. And you can build this up to be as pigmented as you want. I'm going to go a little bit lighter because we are topping this with powder products as well. I'm taking this blush all the way up under my under eyes, and the reason why I'm doing that is because we are going to put concealer on now. I am not going to put concealer on in this video. I am going to tag my concealer routine because it is a full routine. It is annoying. I don't want you guys to have to sit through that. If you guys have your own routine, literally throw on a little concealer and some powder. I know that's what most people do, but mama's got these hunkers, so I have to do a full routine to make them fully covered. This is the point where we go in and we fill our eyebrows in. Again, I'm not going to go super in depth in this video. I will have my step-by-step eyebrow routine linked down below for you guys if you guys want to see that. I talked you through every single step. It would literally be like an hour-long video, so I will just link the more detailed tutorials in the caption. In this picture, I did have a very matte powder on my face. I had the Carlsland powder on my face. I love this powder. It is so incredible if you want to look incredibly blurred, incredibly matte, be long wearing. This does also make your makeup water resistant. However, my face is a little bit on the drier side today, and I think it's going to make me look a little patchy. So instead of this, I'm going to go in with a lighter setting powder. This is the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter, and I'm going to use this to set my face all over. Because my skin is a little bit on the drier side, this will just help everything look a little bit more skin-like, giving it a little bit more luminosity rather than drying me out too much. For bronzer, I'm going in with the Essence Kissed in California. Oh, I just broke the lid of that off. This one does have a slight luminosity to it, and we're just going to be using this as a true bronzer. We're not going to be trying to sculpt anything with it. We're literally just anywhere the sun would hit our face naturally, other than our nose, is where this is going to go. And I'm going to go in with a heavier hand because I want to look a little bit more bronzy and less blushy today. For blush, I am going in with a pinky peachy shade. This blush, I got it in my Ipsy bag literally years ago, and I use it so sparingly because it's one of my favorites. But I did have it on in that video. And I am going in and just tapping it a little bit further on the front of my face than I normally would. Going back in with my bronzer brush and just going over it again just to make sure that we have a really seamless blend. For nose contour, I'm just going in with a neutral shade bronzer. As you can tell, I really like this one. And I'm just drawing a straight line on the bottom of my nose. This will just make it look a little bit more turned up. And then another straight line right above the button of my nose. I don't really have a button. We're creating one. See, now it looks like we have a button nose. And then just make sure you blend that line upwards slightly. I blend more on this side than I do here, but I do want to make sure everything looks nice and diffused. And just to remind you guys, this is filter free. This is what the base is looking like. Here it is with the filter on, just so you can see the difference. This definitely looks more blurred. Here it is with it off. You can kind of see my under eye back just a little bit more, but as you can tell, we're still looking pretty unrecognizable to who we were before. Now it's time to prep your eyes for your eyeshadow. I'm just using a little bit of concealer, and I am just using a brush to make sure it is evenly distributed across my whole eyelid. I set my brow bone with a face powder so that color doesn't get too far up on my eyelid. Because I have a lot of eye space, it looks ridiculous if I take a smoky eye all the way up too high. Taking a neutral brown and just fluffing it all over in the crease and slightly winging this out, bringing it out further past your eyebrow. It's gonna feel weird, just trust the process. Taking a slightly darker but still neutral brown and just popping it on the outer corner, and again just pulling this out to elongate the eye, but we're not taking it too much further in. We're gonna keep it right on this outside and just keep it really diffused. Taking that same deeper brown and just popping it on my lower lash line, and again connecting it and winging it out. Now here's where we can take it too far, so do this with a very light hand. This was the shade that I just used. Now I'm going to go in with this shade here, and we're going to do a little bit on this outer edge and pulling it up right into the crease, and that same dark brown, and literally just keeping it on the outer edge of your lower lash line. We are not going to take it too far in. We're going to keep it literally like here and out. Now you're going to go in with your lightest eyeshadow. I literally have a white, so that's what I'm going to take, and I'm just going to haphazardly pop it on the entire front half of my eyelid. You wouldn't think adding a super bright eyeshadow on your inner corner and all the way up would really make a difference, but just look at how much brighter this eye looks. Make sure these two eyeshadows are blending well together. Literally, you don't need any extra product. Just take a fluffy brush and blend them. Take your brightest, most obnoxious highlighter. I'm taking Flexitarian by ColourPop and put that on your inner corner. And we're going to keep this pretty concentrated. We're not going to take it everywhere we took the white, just literally right on the corner of your eye so that it catches the light. I'm going to be using a gel liner for my eyeliner today. I like this the most because it's the most long wearing and it's the most matte. And then I'm also using Inglot Duraline. I literally bought this 4 years ago. This is how much I have left. I use it so often. It has never run out on me. I will probably buy another one when this is done because it's the most amazing product. It turns anything that you mix into it waterproof. So if you have watery eyes, you need this. I know it feels expensive to spend over $20 on a tiny little bottle like this, but I've been using this for 4 years. And when I tell you you don't need a lot, you literally need 1 drop, and that's probably honestly too much. For this look, I did about a medium eyeliner. I didn't go super high like an Amy Whitehouse situation, and I didn't go down. I went more straight out, but I also didn't make it like so aggressively long that it felt uncomfortable to wear. Sometimes wearing a full winged liner like this just feels so surreal to me. Feels like I'm stepping back into like 2016 because I never do my eyeliner like this anymore. And everybody's been asking me what lashes I was wearing in that video. I literally don't know if I got these off of Shein or Temu or TikTok shop. I buy lashes everywhere, but here's the little tag if you want to try to like look them up. I don't know where I got them. I'm so sorry. I went back and looked at that video, and it does look like I did do inner corner eyeliner for that, So I am just going to take my brush and literally try to do the smallest, thinnest inner corner eyeliner that I can. This is such a skill, you guys. I still struggle with this. I don't know if I could actually do this on camera because of how difficult it is. As you can see, it definitely just makes the eyes look way longer by adding that little triangle there. It is hard to do. You do have to have a really steady hand. It does take quite a bit of practice, but once you get it,
it's a great tool to have in your arsenal.
Taking a little bit of a liquid glitter and just taking it and applying it right under that triangle. Now apply your lashes. I know you feel crazy right now because this on its own looks crazy, but the lashes really pull it together. While your lash is drying, you can take a brown pencil and just pop it on the outer third of your lower lash line. This is a cool tone brown. This is from Give Beauty. It's in the shade Thunderbolt. It's not a traditional warm brown. It's more on the cool side, and I kind of like that for looks like this. Look at the difference those lashes made. That's incredible. Now it's time for lower lashes. I think that when you do big lashes like this, it can kind of look crazy without a lower mascara, so I'm going to put some on just because I feel like it helps balance the eyes out a little bit. I always put bronzer around my lips. It just makes them look a lot more full. I have foundation around them right now, so they already look a little small, but trust me, this trick right here just makes your lips look so much fuller. Already, you can tell that they just look plumper. When you do this, be careful. I've had a few people message me and say, hey, I did your bronzer around my mouth and I ended up looking like I had drank a bunch of chocolate milk. You gotta keep it low, okay? If you take it too high up, like it's gonna look like a stash. You gotta keep it low. You gotta keep it right on the edges of your lips. In that video, I did use the Michaela lip kit. I did find a dupe for this lip liner because this is my favorite lip liner I've ever used, and I was kind of scared I was gonna have to go without it once I ran out of this, which I know is so stupid, okay? I know it's just makeup, but it's like the perfect lip liner. My bottom lip, I always start by tracing just the sides, the corners down, and you can see my natural lip ends here, but I'm gonna go just slightly below that. And overline just the bottom lip. Fill in the corners. And then you take the lipstick and literally just apply it to the center of the lips and blot it out. Then I'm just going to apply a little bit of a lip gloss over the top. This is the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Madeline. Just going to warm it up just a little bit. In this video, I was wearing a highlighter, a very bright highlighter, but I'm going in with something that's a little bit more subtle today. You could definitely go in with a bright highlighter though, but today I'm just feeling like it needs less. And something I always do, especially because I have dry skin, I pinch this down and do the tip of my nose, in between my eyebrows, and the top of my chin. I don't do the base of my chin, I do the top of my chin, like right under my lip. I'm going to take a little bit of a setting spray and put it on my sponge. And the reason why I'm doing this is because when my skin is super dry and I spray setting spray all over my face, sometimes my concealer will crack because it'll help that powder kind of settle into the dry patches. And so by putting it on my sponge first, I can control where that product goes and make sure that it doesn't get on the areas where it's going to crack. Here is the finalized tutorial for the Unrecognizable makeup that I did. I know this is not what everybody did, but this is just what I found worked best for me and my face shape, and maybe it'll work for you too. And just so you guys know, this is filter free. Let me show you what it looks like with beauty mode on so you can see the difference. Here it is with it on. You can see it's like unnaturally smooth there. I do use this mode sometimes in my transitions, but never on tutorials or reviews because that's just silly. And here we are back to beauty mode off, and as you can see, we're still looking pretty unrecognizable. This was a really long, difficult video to film and edit, so if you enjoyed this content, make sure you hit the follow button. I do tips, tricks, tutorials, and reviews. Bye, bestie. I love you.